everyone. This is Jennifer with Planting Science. Uh, as of this recording, we are about to move into our fall of 2023 session. And with that in mind, we thought this would be a great time to sort of refresh our tutorial videos and create a series that not only introduces newcomers to some of the features of our website, but also for those who have worked with us in a while, highlights some of the new things that have been introduced to the site in the last year or so. For those that aren't aware, we have been involved in a research initiative this year, which is going to be really coming to a head in fall. But as part of the preparation for that, we've been working with our provider HubZero to add some cool new features to the site, to improve usability, and to make certain things more instinctive. So I'm going to point out those things throughout this whole series. But this video is going to focus primarily on the dashboard. So I've logged in as a teacher right now. Most of what I'm going to tell you, though, applies no matter what your role is. So even whether you're a teacher or a scientist, and if you're a scientist, if you're a mentor primarily or a liaison primarily, the same information applies no matter what. Just what you see would be slightly different. So right now, as you can see, I'm logged in as my amazing teacher account. This is the dashboard is the screen that comes up when you first log in. But no matter where you go in the website, if you ever want to find it again, all you have to do is go to your icon here in the upper right hand corner and click on the word dashboard in the drop down menu. If you were out in the home area, which is these are the public pages of the site, the word dashboard will also appear here if you are logged in. If you're not logged in, that won't be there, but you can click there and that will bring you here too. So this is kind of your home base. This is where a lot of communication, it's a good reference point for a lot of things that you'd be doing with the site. This one thing that has changed is that these boxes are no longer movable. We had a lot of teachers and scientists that would lose information because they had moved a box off or they had put it in a place where they couldn't find it. So we picked a static layout, and these are the boxes that you have. But I think we've pretty much covered all the major things that you need. So the welcome box stays here. It's going to change very little, obviously. But the recent updates box below it and the notices box are worth just glancing at every time you log in. Recent updates is basically a news feed, but it's going to be stuff that's timely for whatever's going on with planting science in that moment. So for example, right now, as we're gearing up for the session, invitation time is about to start. So for teachers, that's a good reminder to get their groups set up and their students, rosters in so that we can move forward. For scientists, this is a great reminder that you need to go check your profile, make sure that your preferences are set correctly, that your availability is correct, so that you can either keep people from inviting you because you know you're going to be busy, or ensure that you get a lot of invitations so that you can pick groups that are a good match for you. So that's the kind of thing that you're going to find here. So you always want to glance here to see if something's changed. That's going to be just real important, timely updates. Notices is where we're going to put a lot, like very important links, applications, that sort of thing. So for example, for teachers right now, you'll see this watch this space because we're going to be launching our spring of 2024 application a little early this year. That lets some of the people who couldn't participate in the fall get on board quickly. But regardless, this is where you're going to find your session applications from now on. For scientists, this is where you'll see, for example, the Master Plant Science team application. This is where you're going to look for that. So other things like that will pop up here in the notices from time to time. So definitely take a glance at those two when you log in. Make sure that there's nothing new that really is important to you. And then below, of course, we have our more utility boxes, our box that shows our active groups right now, and the list of projects that we are members of. One thing to note is that this will tell you your role. For teachers, almost all the groups that you're ever going to be a member of, you'll be a manager of because they'll be your classes. Scientists may have some groups in which they're a manager. In that case, they are the liaison for that group. So they're the ones that are helping with moderating those project feeds. If you're a mentor for a group, however, it will just say member here. Projects, kind of the same thing, just to note, like if you're a teacher, every project in the group that you manage is going to be there. Same with liaisons. But if you're just a member of a group and you are a mentor of one specific team, you're only going to see the team that you mentor in this list. But this is a nice at a glance too, because it does have an activity identifier here, like a little flag that pops up that tells you that messages have been posted. It doesn't refresh as well as I'd like. I'm still kind of figuring that one out, but it is a good like note reminder that you should probably want to check that group because something is going on there. So that's the at a glance overview here. The menu is useful too. Your profile, of course, is here, and you can change your picture. So if you want to put up an updated picture of yourself, this is the place to do that. Always good to just check this every periodically, make sure it's all still accurate. Teachers especially tend to move around a lot. Well, that's not teachers and scientists all move around a lot. So if you've changed institutions, if you've changed schools, make sure you're updating that. Um, One other thing too is that now for teachers you don't have nearly as much of this as scientists do, but make sure you're kind of reading through your profile responses to some of these things, and remember that your audience is going to be teachers and students. So just kind of make sure that you're curating the vocabulary you're using so that middle schoolers can understand you. The other thing I would encourage you to include, if you're comfortable, of course this is entirely a personal choice, but if you are comfortable sharing more about your ethnicity and your background, there are a lot of teachers that are looking for mentors for their students that come from some of these same minority backgrounds and sort of family histories, and they would love to be able to showcase um, diversity within their mentor pool as well. So please feel free to include that if you feel comfortable, and as it applies. Mostly, though, we're just really happy you're here no matter what. The other thing about scientists that it will be slightly different than what you're going to see here as a teacher is that this is also where you're going to you can change your preferences and your availability. So you'll want to come here and periodically make sure that your availability is accurate. So you either get invitations because you want them, or you don't get invitations because you're not able to mentor during that session. If you are not getting a lot of invitations, you also might think about adding investigation themes or age groups, because sometimes that can help. But anyway, this profile page is where all that's done. Any changes that you make, you want to make sure that you when you click on the edit screen and you make those changes, that you click save when you're done, or it obviously won't take. Accounts, pretty easy. This is where you change your password. The one thing I wanted to point out about this page is that HubZero had implemented kind of a network-wide requirement that all their passwords be 12 characters, and they have a bunch of rules. We still have a lot of those rules, as you can see here, and they're listed here. But they did, for us, because we work with kids, drop it down to 6. So hopefully that'll make your life a little bit easier, teachers, especially for students that lose their password and you're trying to reset it to a new one. It shouldn't require it to be 12 characters long anymore. However, these other rules still do apply. So it's worth your time to pop in here maybe and make note of this. This is a good place to check what the requirements are. And if you have any questions or concerns about this, don't hesitate to let me know. The collections page is kind of vestigial. Just for those that aren't aware, HubZero, the platform that we've adapted for planting science, is actually a research oriented hub. So it's designed to be more of a social media network for researchers that are collaborating on research projects. And in that case, collections is files and images and various things that they might be using in a bunch of different projects. So for our purposes, it's not crucial that you use this or even know what it is, but basically it's kind of a personal file server. I do have some scientists that will will create a post that contains their introduction, and then they just keep it there, and they know that they can come here and they can copy and paste it in when they meet a new project team. That's really the most common use I've seen for it on our platform. That said, feel free to explore it. It's interesting. There is some potential, because this does become almost like a Pinteresty feed as well. There is potential for this to maybe become a way to showcase student work down the line, but we're not there yet. So if you have questions about it, feel free to let me know. And definitely let me know if you have a real interest in this, because if there's a demand for it, we'll invest more time into making it useful. And then finally down here, groups. This is always a great place to go to find all of your groups, not just the most active ones. So what you'll see when you first log in here is your groups that are currently active. They haven't been archived or anything. But if you've worked with us for a number of years, you might have a backlog of 8 or 9 or more groups from previous years that you'd like to access. So in that case, you want to make sure that you're aware that there's archived right here. You can click on that, and as you can see, my amazing teacher has been my amazing teacher for a few years now. So he has several groups that he's been a member of. And so inside these, you can click on these and you can see past things. The projects will look invisible, but it's just because there's also an archived view for those as well. Make sense? So this is how you can go back and look at past years project information. And that's it. So once again, I'm going to come up here, click on dashboard to go back. And that is how you use your dashboard. As always, if you have questions about any of that or concerns or anything, please just shoot me an email at psteam@plantingscience.org. You can find all of our help avenues up here, including the email address. And if you ever want to schedule time to meet with me, we can do that as well. All right. Thank you so much and have a great rest of your day.